Guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. Real quick, I just want to say thank you to the channel members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for anyone who's come in to watch the knife EDC content. I really appreciate it. It means more to me than you know. Today, we're going to continue our collection dive. This is case number 3, the Made in the USA case. And this is video number 3 of 4. So we're turning the corner into halfway of case number 3. And we're going to start out with this Protech Textured Malibu. This is the second Malibu that I've had in my collection. I had an OG smooth Malibu. It is my favorite button lock. I love this knife. It is 20 CV, made in America. I got the reverse Tanto stonewashed. It is a little bit thicker grind than the Wharncliffe. They also make this knife in a Wharncliffe blade, which I've often been interested in, but for something about the blade shape just doesn't do it for me. But this little guy is a slicer. It is the perfect sized, to me, EDC carry. It's going to be, I need to get my bug out here. But it's going to be about the size, I'm guessing, of a Benchmade bug out, which means it's going to be much smaller than our Spyderco Paramilitary 2, which is really the only other knife I've got out here for comparison. But let me give you an idea on how this Malibu lines up in overall size. 7.5 inches overall, 3¼ inch blade, roughly 4¼ inch we'll call handle, right? So it's right in there. And here is just a Sharpie, right? So you can tell that it's going to be, I think, pretty close to a bug out size. I love the knife. I love the way it feels in the hand. I love the smoothness of the button lock combined with that flipper tab. It really makes for a just delightful deployment. It's got snap. Whether I push button it, light switch it, it is, again, I think Protech kind of made the button lock a thing. I'm really stoked about it. I love it. And this is the Protech Malibu. Moving on, I was so impressed with that. And at the time, I wasn't into automatics. I had a little Kershaw that you'll see in the next case, a little Launch 9 maybe, a little small one. But I didn't have any other automatics. I'd had a Kalashnikov at some point, wasn't that into it, but I'd heard that if you were going to try a Protech, that the Newport was a good entry-level EDC auto. So I picked this up. It's about the same size, for all practical purposes, in the pocket as my Malibu. So that was going to be familiar. And it was an automatic. So super, super snappy. You've got this S35VN blade that has an absolutely splinter digger point. It's got a wickedly sharp EDC edge, whether I'm opening packages, whether I'm cutting cord, whether I'm cutting through duct tape, whether I'm having to save my Slurpee at the local 7-Eleven. It has got a very strong deployable spring, so it's got snap, but I can easily one-hand close it. I really like that. The clip is a deep carry clip, aluminum body like all of our Protechs will be. And I think this is just a wonderful, for somebody who's just getting into knives, who wants a good quality automatic knife and doesn't want it to be something that's more threatening looking, more aggressive. This knife is what I would call, and I use this term way too much, a gentleman's or a business automatic knife, right? It's side actuated. It has plenty of snap, but it has not enough to make the building shake, so to speak. And it closes very easily with one hand. This is the Protech Newport. It is one of my favorite autos. Comes in very handy. I carry it quite a bit, and we will keep moving on. Next, we come to another Protech Fair and Forge collaboration, a button lock that is, if I thought anything could be better than the Malibu, I would tell you I was lying. This knife, even though it's a bigger knife, a more full-size knife, it is better, in my opinion, than the Malibu. It has got a MagnaCut blade that has got a very nice blade geometry. It has the button lock that I think is even more refined, probably because the blade has more weight on it than the Malibu. Has snap, whether I push button it, light switch it, it's not failable. I mean, this knife is perfectly centered. It's got the sculpted aluminum handle. I put a Lynch deep carry clip on this one just to try it. It had a clip that was fine, but I had the Lynch clip. You've got the Fair and Forged logo there. Got the MagnaCut blade. Very aggressive drop point with a wonderful forward finger choil. Very pokey, stabby. I would say this is a great Slurpee saver, freedom defending type knife, as well as an EDC knife. Carries very thin, yet it is a bigger knife, right? It's going to come in probably very close to the size of our PM2, just to give you all an idea. So full-size knife, in my opinion. And that's going to mean it comes in right about 8 1/4 with a 3.5 inch blade and a 4.5 inch handle. Where I grab it, you're looking at right at 5 inches, which I like. That's that front choil. So from right here to right here, that's a 5 inch span. So I think it's plenty big for any hand. I personally wouldn't grip it back here, but you could. And that is the Protech Fair and Forged Mordax. Great knife, made in America, like all the ones in this case are, and definitely one of my favorites. So moving on, after my F&Grow 225 introduction to the Strider form, I wanted to get a USA-made Strider type knife, right? Before I came to my original Strider, I saw this little guy, and this is the PT207. So it is made after the Protech PT smaller knife. This one has a textured aluminum handle, has a MagnaCut blade. It is a smaller tactical knife, but it just really brings to life that form factor of that Protech that I'd fallen in love with after experiencing the F&Grow. This guy is super slicey. It is a small EDC knife that gets every task that I would need done. It's got a MagnaCut blade. It's got a spring that thunders out. It's got a very multi-grip, tactical handle positions, right? I can grab it up here for cutting and a choil. I can grip it back for more of a defensive grip. Or if I was going all in, you could get it in a reverse grip here, and it'd be very, very pokey, very, very stabby, very Slurpee saver, and you've got a natural place to rest your thumb. I just think this design is elegant. One hand closed very easily. Again, a lot of snap in that blade, but yeah, I can close it in one hand. I like the grip. I like the jimping. I like everything about it, guys. I've become a huge fan of Protech, and it's because of the quality of the knives I've been picking up lately. So moving on, I got a chance to trade for the Protech SnG, the bigger version of the PT207. This is a smooth aluminum, larger knife. Instead of MagnaCut, we are working here with 154 cm. It is very slicey. I just came out of that cut. And this knife I look at as a tactical knife, a great EDC knife, but a hard work knife. So you've got this wonderful sharpening choil, super, super sharp blade. You've got this very pokey, stabby point. You've got everything that the PT207 was, except you've got it in a larger, more aggressive package, right? So I've got that thumb position for the reverse grip. I've got a more pronounced finger choil with additional jimping. I've got just a fantastic, I think, ergonomical handle with a really thought out, aggressive blade. I can close it with one hand. Thunder's open. You've got these external stops. Locks up like a house. There's no wiggle in it. There's no up and down. There's no play. It's just a fantastic automatic knife. Now this guy is going to be, again, in that size range, I'm guessing, with our PM2. More of a full-size knife. A little bit shorter than the PM2. But it's going to come in at, we'll call it 8 1/4 for shits and giggles. 3.5 inch blade for a little over 4.5 inch handle, right? And if you go from that choil to that back end, you're at 4 3/4, and that's 4 3/4 right here. A lot of people don't like this little shark hook or fish hook choil. I personally love it. It keeps the finger choil away from the sharpening choil, and it gives me plenty of blade, both on the PT207 and on this full-size SnG. This is the same size as my Strider SnG, but this is a lot less expensive. A great, great, great knife. The clip takes a little getting used to, but I don't mind having a non-deep carry clip. This is just like the Strider clip. I'm a huge fan, and this is the Protech Strider SnG. Moving on, we come to a Protech that I picked up because I found it so unique, right? I could hand this knife to non-knife people and to some knife people, and they're not going to know how to open it because the Protech Whiskers, you open by rattling that bolster. This is the Whiskers 2. You've got this jimping on the heel of the knife, and you simply wiggle that back scale and it deploys the knife. So instead of flipping that front bolster out, you simply shift your palm right here. You can see that scale moves. It moves right there when I actuate it. And you can also see that that's releasing the blade. So it's easy to two-hand release it if I want to. I need to clean it out. But I can also one-hand close it just by getting it and letting it go. It is a full-size knife, so it's got a really big blade. It's, I want to say, almost a 4-inch blade. I think this knife might even be bigger than our PM2. It is by just a little bit. So the Whiskers designed, Whiskers 2, is also 154 cm. It is over 8.5 inches long. The blade is over 3 3/4, and the handle is 5 inches. Where I grab it, you're at 4 3/4. That's from right here to right here. But a really smooth knife. Easier, again, to two-hand close it if you're not opposed to that, but plenty easy enough to one-hand close it. I need to put a little ultralight oil on it while we got it here. That stuff will really get in there. At some point I need to probably break it down. But it seemed like it was singeing up there for a sec. Now it's about to throw itself out of my hand. I don't know if y'all can tell how much harder it's opening. So yeah, just a little automatic maintenance while we're sitting there checking it out. But this is the Protech Magic Whiskers. We'll get some of that excess oil out of there. And then we're going to move on and continue through our case. Sorry about that, guys. If I notice it's slow, I've got to jump in there. So, next up in our USA made case, I had one of these I don't know if we've seen this other one yet, but this is the one that stayed in the USA case. This is my titanium scaled original goat scaled Houge Deka. I'll put my original goat link along with links to these knives where I can find them. If they're affiliate links, great. If not, I'll leave you a link. Or you can just Google them. You never have to use my affiliate links. It does help me in the channel if you do. But this is the Houge Deka Wharncliffe. I love this knife. It's the OG version, so it's the version 1 that has the extra screws. You can now get this knife in MagnaCut. Chances are what I'll link to will be MagnaCut because I don't even know if this is available anymore. But guys, this knife is an absolute laser beam. I don't know if you can hear when I roll over that grind, but it's got different thicknesses back here and up here. It does not interfere with the cutting at all. I think it's a super unique looking knife with the original goat scales because it used to have FRN scales. It was still a cool looking knife with the black DLC coated blade, deep carry clip. The original goat splatter scales make it that much cooler. It's got a bar lock, super snappy deployment, exactly Benchmade size. We all know that. The Deka is going to be pretty much the size of a Benchmade, even though they're designed totally different. So 7 3/4 inches overall. A little bit right at 3-inch blade. 4 1/4 inch handle. 3-inch cutting area. About a 4-inch grip. So that is the Houge Deka Wharncliffe Gen 1. The Gen 2 looks just like it. It's just got upgraded materials. And the original goat scales were an addition, but I think they're awesome. I'm a huge fan. But guys, I think this is a great knife, a great value. It's going to come in much less than Benchmade's, and I think the materials, the edges, and the overall workmanship is fantastic. Moving on, we come to my Tactile turn Rockwall, the only Tactile turn knife or Tactile knife Rockwall that I have in my collection. I've tried out the Archer, I've tried out the Maverick. I like this little knife because it's a gentleman's knife. I like the thumb studs on it. It works very well, whether I reverse flick it or standard flick it. Little MagnaCut blade, little gentleman's folder. Again, not huge, but very efficient for when I need it at the office or if I'm going out, more dressed up, need a lighter knife, but still if I need to get things done or heaven forbid, stave off a Slurpee thief, I've got what I need, right? Very elegant little knife, titanium handle, titanium milling, made out in Texas. I love the clip. This knife just screams dress pants and it works well, but it carries great in jeans too. Fantastic little package. My favorite Tactile knife company knife. And this is the Rockwall OG MagnaCut. When I say OG, it's probably the Generation 3. I'm a big fan. Love it. Moving on, we come to the last 3 knives in this video. Then we'll have our final video. And this is the first Medford that I brought into my collection. This is the Medford Infraction. I really like the look of it. I didn't really know what to expect because it was, again, the first Medford. I liked it because it had a flipper tab and I wasn't yet a fluid reverse finger flicker. But guys, this knife is an absolute beaut. For my hand, it's perfect. For my buddy A to Z, who's a little bigger guy, it's not as. He says it's a little cramped here, but I love it. It's a thick, thick knife with what I think are perfect ergos, on washers, S35VN blade. I've gotten to where I can flick this thing at will. It comes apart and goes together amazingly well. You've got fantastic hardware, fantastic detailing. This is the Stars and Bars pattern, one of the patterns that they sell. I love the hollow ground blade. I love the aggressive look of it. It is very much a tactical folder, in my opinion. Kind of a spear point blade, but very, very cool. Carries great. The only downside is the clip, but I found a way, talking to Medford, that I could replace that with one of their clips for just about $45. They will offer you that service as long as you sign a waiver that you won't hold them responsible for jacking up the knife if you jack it up while you're trying to fix it. That doesn't mean that it voids your warranty. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what they were saying. They were just saying you can either send it in, they will do it, or you can pay them, sign the waiver, and they will send the clip. One thing I will say, everybody knows clips are easy to change. This one, you have to take the knife apart. This does not have threaded scales. You've actually got small little bolts that fit in a nice machined out pocket on the back side of this. So you do have to take it apart to put the clip in, but it's a superior mounting strategy. I don't know if you can see back there, those little pockets right there and right there. They have a little bolt that are recessed down in there that's loose, and the clip screws go right into that. I love it. I think it's just very well done, very elegant. But this is the Medford Infraction, my first Medford. It's a traditional flipper or a thumb flick or a middle finger flick knife on washers. It's just very well tuned, very well done. T30 pivot and T10s on the body. Moving on, we come to the second Medford that I brought into my collection. And I had to have this knife. I was crazy about it. It actually came with bearings, which I found very attractive. And then I was able to upgrade it with skiffs, because they make skiff replacements for this knife. And it's really broken in ideally. This is the falling leaves pattern, where you get this kind of milled out leaf pattern. This is a DLT exclusive, which means it's in 9, which is S90V. I'm a huge fan of S90V. That's why when these slim middies became available, I was really quick to jump on one. It's slicey as the day is long. It's got drop shut action on those skiffs. It flicks like a dream, which is the only deployment method. However, most people, most purists, will slow roll the knife. There's no need to flick it out unless you're just like me and you like to reverse finger flick knives. But the ergonomics on this knife, the thinness of the profile, really made it attractive to me. The S90V blade was just a bonus, which brings me to the last knife in the collection. After I picked that up, I liked it so much, I wanted to try the Midi Marauder, which is the same knife, it's just the thicker version, right? So this is the slim Midi, and this is the Midi Marauder. You can tell the difference in the blade thickness. You can tell the difference in the overall body thickness. And this is a Tanto and S35, where that is S90V drop point. This one's on washers, where this one is on bearings. I really have fallen for this knife. I like it a lot. It carries very well. It gives you even more handle to grip onto. You've got this compound ground, flat on the hollow ground on the flat there, with this nice Tanto tip that has a lot of bite. I don't know if you can see that biting into that little piece of paper. And then it's just pokey stabby as you could want for a heavy duty work knife on washers that just feels like a tool. I mean, it feels like a substantial piece of toolery. I mean, it's just a great knife. This is the Medford Midi Marauder that was right next to our slim Midi. Let's take care of Jason, not Jason, what am I saying? I'm losing my mind. Joe Isabella, thank you for the B up, brother. We got the Medford Midi Marauder in video 3. We've got the Medford Slim Midi in S90V. We've got the Medford Infraction. We've got our Tactile turn Rockwall. We've got our Houge Deka Wharncliffe with original goat scales. We have got our Protech Magic Whiskers 2. We have got our Protech Strider SnG. We've got our Protech Strider PT207. We have got our Protech Mordax button lock manual in MagnaCut. We have our Protech Newport, the little CEO gentleman's automatic. And then we have the first Protech from my collection, and still one of my favorites, the Protech Malibu. And this is the textured Malibu button lock. Great little EDC knives, as all of these are, guys. But I appreciate you so much watching the content, taking a look. If you're still here and you hadn't had a chance, please hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon. But most importantly, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your hearts, and always choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.